Hello, everyone, and welcome to the IMSA Grand Prix Hour, the fastest hour on television. Today, we're off to Sebring, Florida, and the 38th running of the legendary 12 Hours of Sebring, as the Grand Touring prototypes take us to speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. Today, the world's top drivers compete for over $300,000 in prize money. We'll go behind the scenes at the festivities surrounding a Grand Prix weekend and look at some of the 38-year history of the oldest sports car racing course in the U.S. How does space-age sports medicine make a difference during an endurance race? What does it take to control the danger of fire in the heat of competition? You'll find out right here on the IMSA Grand Prix Hour. But right now, let's go trackside with IMSA Grand Prix Hour announcers Bill Bowser and Brad Sears.
Thank you, Don. Starting grid for the 12-hour endurance contest has Derek Daly, the Irishman, driving the number 84 Nissan ZX Turbo, which was qualified on the pole at a record-breaking 127+ miles per hour by co-driver Chip Robinson. Alongside in the front row will be Frenchman Bob Wallach inside the number 86 Texaco Haviland Star Porsche 962. Starting in second row, third place, Bob Earl out of Larkspur, California, drives the second blue, white, and red Nissan number 83. Alongside in the second row, John Nielsen the Dane in the XJR-12, the V12 Jaguar number 60. Starting fifth in the third row, number 67, the Nissan ZX Turbo, prepared by Jim Busby in California and driven by John Paul Jr. Starting sixth from the grid in the third row, Greg Olson of Connecticut in number 98, the Toyota Eagle, prepared by Dan Gurney. The other Toyota Eagle, number 99, has driver Rocky Moran aboard. Starting eighth, car number 33, the Chevy Spice Machine of Bernard Jourdain of Mexico City. Starting ninth, number 61, on Mammers in the Jaguar V12, number 61. And starting 10th on the grid, the number 0 Porsche 962, the white and blue machine of Henri Pascarolo, John Winter of Germany, and John Louis Ricci of France. Okay, Brad, let's take a look at the layout of Sebring International Raceway.
Cars leave the front straightaway and head down towards turn one, an easy left-hander. Up into turn two, a right-hander, a short straight up into the carousel. Around the carousel, almost 180 degrees around to the left. A sweeping right-hander down underneath the drive-over bridge and the footbridge toward Camel Hairpin, which is a hard right-hander. The cars slow down here to about 90 miles an hour. Up the hill into the chicane, which is a quick right and a quick left, and then up over the hill by Warehouse Straight. Down into turn 8, a right-hander, short straight, out to turn 9, and down a long straight by the air paddock by the water tower, and down towards turn 10 and 11, and finally 12 onto the long back straightaway, one of the longest straightaways in U.S. sports car racing. They race down that runway, a concrete runway, towards turn 13, around turn 13, under the bridge, and back out to the start-finish line on the front straightaway.
Now you'll see them swaying back and forth. That's not scrubbing tires, that's heating tires up. The tires at a heated temperature stick better to the concrete and to the pavement. A newly paved portion of track, back near turns 10, 11, and 12, made the track a little faster. And of course, the technology in the cars made them faster. The driver's expertise made that faster. Down the back chute they come, ladies and gentlemen. That long airport runway portion of Sebring International Raceway, to bring you the 38th annual running of the Sebring 12-hour endurance event. Out from underneath the Goodyear Bridge, out of turn 13 here at Sebring. They take the green flag from Jim Sidley, the starter. The Nissan pulls to the front, right away to the inside, into the outside. The 86 Texaco Haviland Star Porsche. Bob Wallach, the Frenchman at the wheel, goes to the outside. He'll go around the Nissan. He pulls 8, 10 car lengths ahead of both the Nissan of Derek Daly and Bob Earl. Down now into turn 3, it's still the Texaco Haviland Star. That Porsche, a Bruce Levin machine out of Seattle, Washington, showing its muscle here early in the 38th running of the 12 Hours of Sebring. Once again, underneath the Camel Crossover Bridge, the drive-over bridge, they'll go down now into what's known as the hairpin, a right-hander and a hard right-hander. At the hairpin, Derek Daly brings the 84 car right up onto the back side of the Porsche, and right behind him comes Bob Earl in the second Nissan ZX Turbo. As they go down what's known as Warehouse Straight, it's the Porsche ahead by 5, 6, 7 car lengths. But again, when they go into the turns, the Nissan seem to catch up onto the back of the Porsche. So the Porsche having to brake just a little bit. Wallach takes a little bit of the trip with left rear tires off into the gravel, kicks up a little bit of sand and dust. Now on to the airport portion of the course, brand newly paved for this year. A little bit of a chicane there, but they're able to straighten it out when they put the speed on. Down the back chute, they'll count the airport runway portion of this 4.11-mile long circuit. A real long, almost over 1 mile run each time around, in which the Porsche Bob Wallach is able now to put a bit more of a move. They come on down the first lap completion with the Porsche in the lead, Nissan, then Jaguar, and then the Nissan from Buckley. Bob Wallach again pulls out just a little bit. He comes down the front straight underneath the start-finish line. Second lap now into this 12-hour event. Very early, a long way to go. The Porsches with the colors of black, then of course the red Texaco emblazoned on top. Goes down to turn 3 again with still a lead over the two Nissans. The Nissans can play catch up down in the slower portions of the course when the turbos do kick in. The Wallach-driven Porsche does seem to have a little bit more muscle at the controls of Bob Wallach. The Alucraft automobile, the Porsche 962, driven by Hurley Haywood of Jacksonville, Florida, and co-driver Scott Schubert out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This car started 50th on the grid in last place, coming off of pit row. The reason, they blew a turbo early on, and of course had to change that before they could get up into the starting field. Hurley Haywood of Jacksonville, Florida, the only driver to win the 24 Hours of Daytona and the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1 year. But that was years ago. Scott Schubert, the Camel Lights champ from last year, comes up to the Camel Prototype Series as a shoe-in driver simply because the car, the Camel Light 4 at the hands of Linda Ludeman, his co-driver, caught fire in the practice earlier this week. She was not seriously injured. Within 4 laps of this long endurance event, the faster cars have now started lapping the back markers of this 50-car field. Running onto the back markers, that gives the Nissan of Derek Daly just a little bit more room to catch up to the back of the lead car, the Porsche 962 and Bob Wallach of Strasbourg, France. As they go and weave through that slower traffic, it gives the slower cars a bit of a chance to catch up to the rest of the field. But they move to the outside of the track to let pass on the inside those faster cars coming by. That Porsche 962 puts its sights on one of the monsters, one of the GTO automobiles in this race today. Goes to the outside and followed right behind the Nissan of Daly, the Irishman. Once again, into the turns, the Nissan right up onto the back spoiler of the Porsche, but he's going to give it some room. No way to pass now. They'll have to go 3 wide as they go into the turn. They put a bigger separation now in the rest of the cars. Down to turn 11, a couple of Porsches have come together, one sitting on the track and smoking at the present time. It looks like the Chris Craft automobile. The rest of the vehicles going out to the outside around him. A real close call there. He gets out, he goes over to the corner workers, and will go over the wall. So Chris Craft in the 26 Porsche in the GTU out of it for this race. End of the pits for an unscheduled stop. The Nissan ZX Turbo number 84. Brad?
The 84 Nissan comes into the pits, Bill. Looks like it's got a cut-down tire. Little trouble getting by the 2 Toyotas sticking out there. Gets into his pits and comes to a stop. Everybody over the wall. Tires coming over the wall. Fuel. Wash the window. Off come the 4 tires as the jack lifts the car up. Now the left rear tire is the one that got cut down. In fact, there's no tire left on the rim. Crewman in underneath the body of the automobile. This is a long pit stop. It's a lengthy pit stop. It's going to cost the Nissan some time when he gets back out on the track. The crew wipes the windows of the car. Let's see, they're getting the tires on. They're going to get the car ready. Looking under the front of the car. The crewmen signaling to hold the car. They're both under the back of the car. The man's at the air hose. Is he going to release it and let the jack down? He's waiting. Yep. Right now, let's go to Don Westcott and look at the history of Sebring.
During World War II, the term international competition had a much more ominous meaning than it does today. Hendricks Field, on the site of today's race, was a training facility for American pilots learning to fly the mighty B-17. These legendary airplanes served America mightily during the war years, and many of the men who soon became decorated heroes learned their skills on the runways of Hendricks. In the early 50s, the world became sports car crazy, and Alec Ullman brought a different kind of warfare to what was now called Sebring Airport. Sports car racing, thundering sports cars with powerful engines, primitive suspensions that shook the tarmac as horsepower replaced air power. Sterling Moss, Lance Revenlow, and Sir Jack Brabham, that's right, Jeff's dad, were just a few of the men who sought to conquer Sebring's challenging layout. Now, 40 years later, the cars and the men are different. The course has gone through some changes, too. But it's still Sebring, and its name still echoes with a power and bravado that was born here years ago.
Bill, there's 87,000 people here enjoying the races today on this beautiful day. There's a shot from our airplane that shows the track layout and all of those people.
Coming back off the first caution flag of the day, with the Mitsubishi safety car getting ready to bring into the green flag once again. The 67 Nissan, Jim Buster prepared CX Turbo. John Paul Jr., West Palm, Florida, the driver, managed a quicker pit stop than the rest, so he'll come out in the lead at least for the time being. He's followed by the 86 Texaco Havoline Star Porsche Cyril Vandermeer out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Then the Toyota's back in the field. Relatively missing, of course, the Nissan's green flag from Jim Sidley. The Nissan takes to the inside, but to the outside, Vandermeer brings the Porsche 962-86 out into the lead. The rest of the field pretty well strung out, but Nissan's well back in the pack. And having come in for the pit stop during the caution flag, come out late, they'll be playing catch-up to the rest of the front runners as they come back from that caution flag. The field consisting of GTO, GTU, IMSA cars and drivers, as well as the Camel prototypes and Camel light cars. Down to the field now comes the Nissan trying to play catch-up to the rest. Here's an incident now, the 23 car driven by Harrington up against the wall to the outside of the racetrack. The corner workers are at the scene looking at the driver. Things look pretty good. Driver moving inside. And the safety car, this is the 928 Porsche IMSA, which is brought out into the field, even under green flag conditions that they have now, comes to the scene if aid is needed. Corner workers still attending to Harrington, the driver, the 23 Porsche 962. Bill Adam, the driver, along with Seabrook, a co-driver in that automobile. Driver's out and okay, and the signal is given. Back to the racing action now, and to the inside goes the 17 car. Hans Struck takes Cyril Vandermeer as one Porsche, bests another as they come out of turn number 13 and will try to start another lap.
John Paul Jr. is leading the race right now in the blue and white 67 Nissan, followed by Bob Wallach in the black and red Texaco 86 Porsche. Rocky Moran in the 99 Toyota is coming up in third place, and fourth place is Price Cobb in the 60 Jaguar. Fifth place is held down by the 33 Chevy Spice driven by Bernard Jourdain.
The event now, just a little over that. Dominic Dobson, the number 86 Smoke, comes from behind the car. That means trouble for the number 86 car. Running second to the number 17 Porsche of Hans Stuck. It'll mean a pit stop for the 86 this time, and they'll have to look to see if the trouble is terminal or not. But smoke coming from the car certainly is not a good sign. Brad?
That's right, Bill. The car is coming down pit lane. A lot of smoke behind the automobile. It does not look like oil smoke. It does not look like fire. It looks like water vapor, you know, just plain old steam. Tires over the wall. They're taking the engine cover off the car. The car's up on the jacks. The driver's door is open. The driver's getting out of the car. That's not a good sign, especially without the relief driver waiting to get into the car. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of rush going on in this pit stop. It's almost like, oh, well, we've dumped the engine, so here we go. And they're lazily putting the cover down. Somebody coming around the side of the car now to get a look at it. They're looking at it. Looks like the day's over.
Coming up underneath the Goodyear Bridge now comes the number 0 Porsche 962. Bob Wallach is in the car at the present time, trying to put the number 98 Toyota a lap down to the rest of the leaders. The 0 Porsche 962, the Yost racing car, European configuration automobile that has had success in the past, puts the chase now on the Toyota. Bob Wallach out of Strasbourg, France now, changing rides early on in the event. He has passed the Toyota out of camera view now, goes down into about turn number 8 at the present time, and the Toyota really being put back a number of car lengths by the acceleration in Wallach and the Porsche. Wallach certainly a grand Porsche driver, there is no doubt about it. He has done most of his stints through his driving career. This one-time Olympic skier, now a race car driver, does well in the Porsche automobiles. The Frenchman once again in the 0 Porsche 962 passes quickly around one of the slower markers and goes to the backside of the course at the present time. When he comes out in turn number 12, he takes a wide berth, goes out almost to the cones and brings it back. Wallach getting into the 0 automobile after Dominic Dobson aboard the 86 Porsche 962 blew a head gasket, and that gave Wallach the chance to go to another ride for the remainder of this 12-hour event.
To see what happens around a racetrack beside racing, let's go to Don Westcott.
If you've been to an IMSA event, you know that there's more to a Grand Prix weekend than just racing. While the racing fans and the family are watching the time trials or the featured race, there's plenty to do on the Midway, with its arcades and games, souvenirs, and culinary treats. This Camel GT driving simulator gives everyone a chance to experience the thrills of Grand Prix racing the way the driver experiences it, from behind the wheel. Using a computer-controlled electro-hydraulic system, the Camel GT driving simulator recreates the sense of intense acceleration and deceleration experienced by the driver when passing, cornering, and braking in the heat of Grand Prix racing. With a stroke of a golf club, Mazda gives everyone a chance to win a souvenir poster. Whether you travel in an ultra-luxury mobile home or call a tent your home for the weekend, camping in the infield is always a unique experience. There's something for everyone at an IMSA Grand Prix race. The next time you and the family are looking for a great weekend or fun-filled afternoon, come to the races. It's great family fun. See you there.
The two Nissans, 83, 84, going into the carousel now. That'll be Jeff Brabham, the 83. The 84 would be Derek Daly. The pass was made. Daly got around him. Brabham, the 1989 Camel GT IMSA champion. And, of course, Derek Daly, one of the co-drivers in the team, made the pass on the chief driver of the squad. And Daly pulls pretty much away as they get into traffic. Daly in the 83 car now with the lead as he went around Jeff Brabham, but Brabham keeping only about a 4, 5, maybe 6 car length distance between he and the Nissan leader at the present time, going through that slower traffic where passes probably won't be made. 2 slower cars, 3 slower cars up into the front now, awaiting the approach of those Nissans after the pass had been made. Meantime, the number 33 Chevy Spice automobile of Tom Kendall out of La Cañada, California, the 1988 GTU champion team with Bernard Jourdain, moving up on the 67 car. It's 15 laps back from the lead 83 Nissan at the present time, but the 33 Chevy Spice of Kendall now putting the move on the 67 car, trying to set the sights on the third place machine, the 61 Castrol Jaguar. Meantime, the Zero automobile, the Porsche 962, in second place behind the Nissan, making a move on some slower traffic.
Bill, let's take a look at the leaderboard. The first car on the leaderboard is the number 83 Nissan, driven by Derek Daly, with the second spot held down by Henri Pasquarello in the Zero 962 Porsche. The number 33 Chevy Spice, driven by Tom Kendall, is third, and fourth is Andy Wallace in the 61 Jag. The fifth spot is held down by Drake Olson in the 98 Toyota. You know, during the week, Mel Kisner, our garage reporter, talked to these drivers about what it's like to drive at Sebring.
When you go into a race as long as this, you try and plan a strategy, but so much changes after the first couple of hours because you don't know how strong the opposition is going to be. We're going to start off the first 2 or 3 hours and run a comfortable pace, and if somebody's faster than us, let them go. If we're pulling away from people, we'll continue to do that as long as we're in a rhythm and the drivers are not taking too much out of the cars. Then after 6 hours, we can plan the rest of the race, whether we need to go faster, push harder, or conserve.
I think the tone here, though, is to go easy, and our race is really with the clock. We'd like to go 12 hours, and if the other guys are going to be rabbits or if they're just plain stronger than we are, then so be it.
Hans, this is a particularly exciting race for you. Could you tell me why, please?
Yeah, first of all, because Sebring is my absolute favorite racetrack in the world. It is a racetrack which has not been destroyed by silly chicanes like FIA did with tracks in Europe. And it's a track that requires a big heart to drive. It really requires a lot of driving skill. And I won here 3 times already, and maybe it's a fourth time now.
Do you plan to employ any particular strategy to ensure that 4th win?
There's nothing you can assure in racing, I tell you that, but if you win it 3 times, you know how to do it. You gotta begin quite steady, easy with the car, and after 6, 7 hours, when a couple of cars have dropped out of the race, and your car is still in good shape, then put the pedal to the metal, and then we see if we can win it.
Bob Earl out of California aboard the lead Nissan number 83 ZX Turbo car down the runway backstretch, and he tags a couple of cones, pushes them off to the left side. Going down into turn number 13, the final turn of the course, goes to the outside of one of the slower cars, then goes inside of a Camel Lights car, the number 32 Buick Spice, driven by Thomas Lopez and Furman Velez. Lopez at the wheel. They tag just a little bit, and the 83 car under Earl slows before they come underneath the Goodyear Bridge. Matter of fact, he goes way wide after the contact, kicks up some dust before going under the bridge, and then down past the start-finish stripe to end another lap and to begin yet another in this 12-hour endurance event. Looks like there's not too much damage to the side of the car after having in contact up into turns number 1 and 2 now. He comes up yet on some more of the slower traffic. The two Toyota automobiles, Dan Gurney prepared All-American Racers 98 and 99, having lengthy pit stops, one of them for brakes and seat belts, and the other having a 7 to 10 minute pit stop. Very lengthy, even in a 12-hour event.
Here's a replay of that 83 car confrontation with the 32 car. Earl comes up to the outside, comes up beside the 32 car. Earl is out of line. He's going too fast to be in that line that he's in. He tries to get back in so he can clip across the apex. The two cars bump, and Earl is forced to the outside. He loses it a bit. He has to come down on the brakes. He has to slow the car quickly so he can hold it in line. He's drifting out. He's drifting out further and further. He gets out into the pebbles and gets out into the dirt. It's slippery on the outside edge of the track. He does a marvelous job holding it, and he's back in line. Right now, let's go back to live action on the track as Bob Wallach in the Zero Porsche flying around turn 8 out towards turn 9. Former world champion skier Derek Daly putting the pressure on in the 83 car, still carrying the mail down the front straightaway around turn 1. Out on the backside of the course, we see the Wins friction proofing number 10 Porsche driven by John Hotchkiss coming around turn 13, passing a slower lights car. And the 67 car with John Paul Jr. putting a move, or trying to put a move, on the 61 Jaguar on turn 5, the Camel Hairpin. And Tom Kendall in the 33 moving around turn 13.
IMSA pays a lot of attention to safety in racing. Unlike the early days of racing, today when a driver rolls a car into a little ball of scrap metal and there's fire present due to the inevitable spilled fuel, the driver will generally walk away, a dramatic improvement in just the past decade. An area that has received a lot of scrutiny is the prevention of fire, or at least the quick reduction of the flames and the heat. The driver and the crew are protected by the clothes that they wear, made of a material called Nomex. Bill Simpson of Simpson Safety Equipment demonstrates the effectiveness of the material by setting himself on fire. With the aid of Nomex, a driver has a chance to get out of a burning racer unhurt. In the pit area, there is one crewman assigned the job of fireman. Watch the crewman, who is back to us. If he should do any work on the car, the team will be penalized. His job, spot a fire, put it out. It looked big, the flames fed by high-octane racing fuel, but the extinguisher knocked it down quickly, allowing the car back into action. In fact, this car went on to win this event.
The 67 car is coming in down pit road, Bill. Comes to a slow stop in its pit area. There's no real hurry here. There's no rush. Crew comes over the wall. There's no tires coming over the wall. The driver's door is open. The crew's looking under the back of the automobile. They're just kind of standing around talking to each other. The crewman goes over and talks to the driver. The driver explains what's happening with the car. No urgency here. It's what's happening with it. I wonder if we can get a word from somebody in the pits. John Paul, are you in the pits? Can you tell us what's happening with this automobile?
Easy fix. They know what it is. We'll be back out to it.
Well, looks like they've got it about ready. They're going to push it off. The Camel steward is standing right in front of the car. He's moving now. The car is moving, coming out of the pits rather slowly back out into race traffic. It looks like there may be a problem with the drivetrain or whatever, and the car just isn't accelerating quickly. Here it comes. Now it's coming up to speed as it goes around turn 1.
Down the back chute, it's the 61 Jaguar, the V12, the green and white Castrol car. The pass to the inside on Andy Wallace, Todd Blakos, and the 98 Toyota. Now the Toyota is 6th place, 5 laps down to the 3rd place Wallace Jaguar. The leader, 83, Bob Earl, the Californian. The 83 Nissan comes up onto the Jaguar as they finish turn number 13, the last turn under the Goodyear Bridge again. 98 Toyota seemingly in the first spot, but remember, laps separate these automobiles. The Nissan tries to make a move. He does onto the Jaguar, putting the Jaguar 61 12-cylinder car another lap down as the Nissan motors on. The lead car, the 0, Yost Porsche 962C. Bob Wallach, Strasbourg, France, at the wheel. Does a spin. He comes out and goes sideways just underneath the Goodyear Bridge, and he sits in the middle of the live track. Gull-wing door is open, and the driver attempting to get out.
But he's not getting out of the car. He's just got the door open. He's getting the corner workers over to the automobile, talking to a corner worker. He's attempting to push the car back. Nope. Changes his mind. Another corner worker coming. Car's going by. It's still a live hot track. The corner workers are out there in a hot track, and they're pushing the car, or one of them's pushing the car now too, over into the pits. Remember, as long as the car is stalled out on the track, the driver can't work on it. But if it gets into the pits, then the crew can work on the automobile. And the 0 car's pits are right at that end of pit row. That's a lucky thing for him. Now there's 3 of them pushing the car in. The corner worker looks back to make sure there's nothing coming up behind them. They head for the 0's pits as the team gets ready for the automobile being pushed in. Evidently the engine's not running, but well, they think they got a chance of restarting it. So if they can get the car in to work on it, they can get it restarted and get it back out. Car's into the pits, crew begins to work on it. Well, let's see, which one's that coming in now? That's the 83 car coming into the pits for a pit stop under the caution flag. Over the wall they go. 4 tires, fuel, driver's door open, passenger's door open. What they're doing is they're going to get the bucket for the cool suit out and get the cool suit a fresh charge of ice so that the driver can stay cool for the afternoon's run. See, there's the ice chest coming out, the new ice chest going in, new tires on. 98 car out of the pits. The Nissan's still in the pits. Will the 0 car be able to get the drag race down pit road and get out of the pits? He's going to be a lap down. There he is. There's the 0 car back out under the track. He is a lap down, so he's lost his first place position. But, judging by the way he's driving that automobile, he won't be back there for long.
It's known as the Emergency Rapid Response Program. A joint effort between IMSA, Porsche, and Methodist Hospital, it can place needed medical care and equipment at the scene of a race mishap in a matter of seconds.
Seconds can make the difference. And what we really needed was the ability to put a trauma specialist on the scene as quickly as possible. The car is driven by a licensed IMSA driver who is also an extraction specialist. His primary function is to deliver his passenger, who is one of the leading trauma specialists in the country, to the scene as quickly as possible. The idea is, while the racing is still happening, we can dispatch this car directly into race traffic.
As medical director for IMSA, my job is to coordinate the facilities and make sure we have appropriate equipment at the track and appropriate referral hospitals and so on. Most of what we do is designed to stack the odds in favor of the driver.
A team effort with one goal in mind, saving lives.
The green flag after the caution, and the Nissan takes the lead down the front straightaway. It heads up into turn number 1, trying to put distance. Derek Daly at the wheel between he and the rest of the field. Following a caution flag with 4.11 miles ahead of you with no traffic is a good time to set everybody into the back and put them into traffic so that they're slower trying to catch up. Into turn number 3 now comes the Nissan. It's a left-hander, not a real hard left-hander, and he puts the distance on the Chevrolet 33, the 17 Porsche. Also coming down the line now is the wind friction proofing number 10 Porsche 962 back in the pack, then some GTO, GTU cars. Daly, controlling the Nissan, goes underneath one of the walkover bridges. He'll go into what's known as the Camel Hair Pit, a 160-degree left-hander, and it is coming up the hill now. They go on up into the hill. They'll go to the chicane. The rest of the field way behind.
Let's look at how one team takes care of its drivers during a long endurance race.
As the driver comes down pit road, immediately the driver gets out of the car. The first thing I do is I have a cold towel waiting for him to put around his neck to reduce the body temperature. I then take a pulse meter straight away, and it's quite easy to take his pulse. I put it on his ear, it gives me an instant pulse. I get him back here into my mobile home, where I take off all his clothes, including his helmet. I put his uniform in to be dried. I take his helmet away, and I have it dried so that there's no body fluid whatsoever left in the clothes. I then check him over to see if he's got any bruising. If he has, I use ultrasound on him. I also use an electric massager, which is very, very good to stimulate the blood flow into the muscles. After I've done everything and checked him over and seen that everything is okay, I then allow him to lie down and rest. I do not allow him to sleep. Before he goes back into the car again, I put him in an exercise bike out there, and I bring up his racing pulse, so that when he gets back into the car, he's getting back fresh, exactly the same as if he's starting the race.
The Yost Racing Porsche out of turn number 12 now. The Porsche 962 seeming to slow. Left headlights are on the car. A slower Camel Lights automobile, one of the Essex Buicks, coming up to the outside of the car, and the Camel Light car will pass the GT prototype. Smoke out of the right rear. Looks like tire smoke from the right rear of the Bob Wallach-driven Porsche 962. So the Yost car should be making its way to the pits. Zero automobile, a Porsche experiencing right rear tire problems in the race, running in second spot to the Nissan number 83. Into the pits comes the Zero car for service.
That's right, Bill. It's slowing down to a stop at its pits. Remember, it pits at the far end of pit road. Crew members over the wall, car up on jacks, tires being changed, gasoline going into the car. There's a new tire going on that right rear of the automobile where the blowout was. Getting ready to let the car down. This is going to be one quick pit stop for the Zero car. Tighten that tire up in a hurry. The crew members stand by to push the car away. And it's a long trip down pit road. Pick up speed. Get back out onto the racetrack. Up around turn 1, turn 2. The car's accelerating rapidly. He's not going to be in that second place spot very long if he keeps up this speed. Right now, let's take another look at the scoreboard and see who's leading this race and where everybody is. Bob Earls in the 83 Nissan. He's right up there in the front of the pack. Henri Pasquarello coming right out of the pits in the Zero Porsche is in second place. And Davy Jones in the 61 Jaguar, he's filling that third place seat. In fourth place is the team leader for the Nissan team, Jeff Brabham, coming up on fourth, and I don't think he's going to be there very long. And in fifth place, Bernard Jourdain in the 33 Chevy Spice. He's bringing up the tail of the first 5 leaders.
The sunset at Sebring International Raceway in the central part of the state of Florida is a beautiful sunset most any night of the year. Maybe more beautiful in that it's over this 4.11 mile race circuit. The light sign displayed out over the start-finish line, and the lights are on all of the GTP, the Camel Light, the GTU, and GTO cars going into the nighttime portion of this 12-hour event.
After 10 hours of racing, everybody's tired. You know, these cars have been in every 59 minutes, 55 minutes since the race started, and this is a normal routine pit stop coming up to this Jaguar. Everybody's putting on tires, they're washing the windows, they've got the stop sign out front, they're cleaning the grill, getting that windshield very clean so that the driver can see at night, the night portion of this race. Tighten the tires up, give it a quick spin, let the car down off the jacks, and it's just about, oh, what they're doing here is they're pulling the tear-offs off the headlight lenses so that they've got a new surface for the headlight lenses so that the driver can see better. And there goes the car away and back into nighttime racing.
It was 1967. Ford came to Sebring with a new lemon yellow Mark IV, built and tested just for Sebring. Behind the wheel would be Bruce McLaren and Mario Andretti. Today, they would do wheeled battle with the winged Chaparrals, Corvettes, Ferraris, and Porsches. With the classic Le Mans start, the field was away, except for the Ford Mark IV that McLaren stalled and the Chaparral that would not start and required a mechanic's help. The early lead was contested by a new Alfa T33 and Charlie Kolb's Ferrari Dino. As the afternoon wore on, Spence and the Chaparral began his march to the lead. Meanwhile, the Ford Mark IV led the way, but at McLaren's first pit stop, the Chaparral took the lead. Mario relieved McLaren and lit out after the fleet-wing Chaparral. Andretti's Ford would regain the lead, and until dusk, the Chaparral and Mark IV, shadowed by Piper's green Ferrari, dueled through the 5+ mile course. But the pace took its toll, and at 6 o'clock, the Chaparral retired with transmission problems. As night fell, it was Porsche on the march in chase of the sprinting Fords. With just 30 minutes left, the Mark II Ford retired, leaving the Mark IV alone to battle 3 closing Porsches. But in the end, the Mark IV held off Stuttgart's challenge by a scant 8 seconds. A young Mario Andretti, the American from Italy, and Bruce McLaren from New Zealand would ride their Ford to victory lane. And that's the way it was at Sebring in 1967. Another great moment in Grand Prix racing history.
The leading zero car, the Porsche 962 Yost racing car, comes into the pits. Looks like a real short stop. It'll be a driver change. Henri Pasquarolo, the Frenchman, goes to the wheel of the zero car. Now, it is the leader at the present time. Lights ablaze. Pulls out of the far end of pit road. That really takes him into turn number 1. He'll merge with traffic, as a matter of fact, right alongside one of the Nissan ZX Turbos. Meantime, a light rainfall. It had been forecast most of the day, but did not come about until in the evening hours under the lights and in the dark. The light rainfall brought many of the cars in so that they could go to the rain tires. They can race in the rain as long as they put treaded tires in and go away from the slicks, which would not give them traction should they leave them on. Up through turn 8 now, and the lights on the pace car are off for this caution period. We should go to green shortly now after they've completed this tour of the circuit. The cars in behind the pace car, getting ready to go down that long, long back straightaway, the airport runway. Lights ablaze here in the nighttime. Nighttime until the checkered flag in the finish, just a short time away. Down the back straight now and heading into turn number 13. Getting ready to go. Coming in underneath the bridge one more time. Here comes the green flag from the starter stand. Once again, they're going down into turn 1, 2 by 2. Up across the start-finish stripe and down into turn number 1. Turns 1 and 2. About this time, they'll be heading toward that 180-degree left-hand carousel turn, number 5. It'll be the Jaguar of Andy Wallace now and the Porsche of Hans Stuck trying to make a go around the Yost Porsche of Henri Pasquarolo. They're going to make the pass, and the Jaguar will pick up another lap on the leader at this time. He'll be on the same lap as the leading Porsche for now.
It's night racing. Just about anything can happen out on the track. Just a little over 2 hours left to go to the end of this race. Let's see a car coming into the pits. It's the number 10, John Hotchkiss Racing Porsche, the Wins car, coming in for probably its second to last pit stop. Tires all the way around, gasoline, wash windshields. There's the leader, the 83.
Go the rest of the way. Approaching the last and final turn, number 13, that 180-degree right turn, comes the GTU number 57, a Nissan. Just as he comes around that bend and underneath the bridge, there's a pile of dust being kicked up. Dirt, headlights coming, headlights going, and there's one of the cars sitting in the middle of the road, middle of the racetrack. Now the yellow flag has been displayed at the flag stand, and just as that happens, there's debris out in the middle of the track in front of the flag stand. You can just make out the Zero automobile, the Porsche Henri Pasquarolo, sitting sideways on the track. There is another race car sitting behind underneath the bridge right now, being attended to by the corner workers as the dust begins to clear from this latest incident. To the scene, and Rod Foley.
What we've got is 2 cars that came together in a quasi-slippery situation. The rain has now stopped, but it certainly didn't stop any too soon.
Bill, here's a replay of the accident. Starts right up there in the right-hand top corner of the screen. Something happening up in that corner right inside the blue circle. Now you can see the car sliding down across the track. It comes to rest right there in the middle of the track. Traffic coming by on the left-hand side of it. Will it get by? All of a sudden, there's something rolling down the track. See it right there as it rolls down the track. I wonder if that could be. Yeah, it is. That's the tire from the Zero car, and it lands right in front of the starter. Now, back to you, Rod.
They've got someone in the passenger side of the car talking to the driver right now who's pretty well shocky, I would imagine. I don't know if he's pinned in there or what, but we can see both heads in there talking. Across of it right now, Brad. I'm like about, 30, 40 feet away. The cars are just going by. The cars, I can reach out and touch the cars there. Basically, what they're doing is they're trying to get him out. I don't see the driver waving or anything like that. The driver, they're cheering now. They've got the driver out. The driver's moving his arms. He's now, well, he's just kind of there. He's talking, but he's not making any great motions. Hey, that's kind of a nasty hit.
It's the two Nissans. They'll come around the turn now, 13. Get ready to take the green flag flies, and it's Nissan coming down to the starter stand, getting ready to go back into turn 1, 2, and 3. The two Nissans trying to battle. It is Chip Robinson trying to get around Derek Daly to put him another lap down to try to catch up before the end of this contest. They'll go to the carousel one more time, the hard left-hand turn as they head for the hairpin, and it will be Chip Robinson. He'll go around Daly, and it'll take another lap now. Although Daly's in the lead, the other Nissan is closing. Here at Sebring International Raceway, nighttime racing, Sebring, 12 hours, getting ready to close. It's the two Nissans, the blue, white, and red champions of 88 and 89. In the car that leads, Derek Daly. Second place, but 2 laps down, Chip Robinson, Oldwick, New Jersey. Way back in the pack, however, running third is the Jaguar XJR 12, being driven by Jan Lammers.
Down into the last 45 minutes of racing, Bill, and it's really getting hot and heavy out here. The 17 car, Hans Stuck, going through the picture now. Well, he's nowhere in the hunt. He's way down in the pack. He's not going to win his 4th Sebring today. Cars head up into the carousel and around on another run of the track. Out in the dark, they're passing each other. The Nissan up in the corner, the Jaguar following him. Jaguar still in 3rd place, following the 4th, the 84 car. The 84 car is in 2nd place, rounding turn 13, heading to the front straight. Out through the front straight, the 84 car heads up into the carousel again. Car behind them. Up into the carousel they go. They're separated. The Jaguar is closing on the 84 ever so slightly as they go around the carousel this time. The Jaguar is attempting to get closer to him. The 83 car, Derek Daly, still in the lead. He's coming up onto the front straight. And there's the Jaguar closing up on the 84 car, closing up, looking for the pass on the front straightaway. All over the back of that 84 car like a blanket. Will he make the pass on this time around? The brakes come on hard on both cars as they go into turn 1. The Nissan comes out of turn 1, still in the lead, with the Jaguar right on his tail as they head for the carousel. The Jaguar still on his tail. Wait, the 83 car is in the pits. A driver change? No, not a driver change. They're going to leave Derek Daly in the car as he comes back out on the track, still in the lead out into the fray.
The Nissan coming to the pits. Chip Robinson, the driver. Brad?
Thanks, Bill. There's the 84 car into the pits. Is this a driver change? Are they taking out Chip Robinson? They are. They're putting Jeff Brabham in the car for the last final laps of this race. They're going to try to chase down the Jaguar and make sure that the Nissans finish 1-2.
With just a half hour to go in the 12 hours of Sebring, the blue, white, and red Nissan, Derek Daly at the wheel, leads. Following second, the green and white Jaguar, Jan Lammers of the Netherlands. The 3rd spot with a half hour to go. The other Nissan, Jeff Brabham at the wheel, while John Hotchkiss, driving the Porsche 962 Purple Winds car, runs from 4th place. Setting 5th with just a little while to go, the yellow, blue, and white Nissan ZX Turbo, driven by John Paul Jr.
And Daly heads up into turn 3 in what could be the last lap.
The Jaguar XJR 12-cylinder of Jan Lammers of the Netherlands at the controls now takes 2nd place with the Nissan pitting. A very risky move this late in the Sebring competition. It's the last lap, the last chance for anyone to take this race away from the Nissan. Derek Daly takes the checkered flag, ending the 12 hours of Sebring 1990.
And Brabham passed Lammers on the last lap to take 2nd place, putting Lammers in 3rd. A jubilant Nissan team.
I started in one car, finished in another. I mean, I think it's just a credit to Nissan Performance Technology that they can change their strategy so quickly midstream and still come away with the success that we had today.
Of course, with a double stint, that just put a lot more pressure on you, too.
Well, it does in a way, but you got to remember that.
The little Irishman.
Yeah, my mother-in-law, Ruth Ann, brought me this and gave it to me this morning. Obviously brought me luck.